Tonight on To The Point.
It is a new era for the city.
Sacramento City Council voting not to extend the city manager's $400,000 annual contract. What they cite as the reason and what happens next. Plus concerns over the state's requirements for motorhomes. Why one Orangevale couple says they're not sustainable.
We're in essence being penalized because we choose to register a vehicle in California.
And later, meet the Spirit Squad, how a group of women are proving that you're never too old to cheer. Good evening. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. The city of Sacramento is now looking for a new city manager. Last night, a majority of city council members voted against extending city manager Howard Chan's contract by a year. It is set to expire on December 31st. And new tonight, the city manager confirms he will serve the remaining 2 weeks of his contract. As ABC 10's Becca Habegger shows us, this was an emotional decision for many council members.
It is a new era for the city, a transition.
At Tuesday's city council meeting, members discussed whether to extend the contract of city manager Howard Chan by 1 year through the end of 2025.
I can't support this condition of this contract.
Chan makes a base salary of more than $400,000. Council last approved a raise for him in November of 2022 and added 6 weeks of paid leave, 240 hours, to his leave balance. He's one of the highest paid city managers in the state. He has served in the role for nearly 8 years and worked for the city a total of 22 years.
I thank him for that service. And we could have done better. This is not the graceful landing you deserved.
6 voted to reject extending Chan's contract. They include newly installed Mayor Kevin McCarty, who said in a statement, "I was clear during the campaign that I would deal with the city manager's contract after I was sworn in, and that my hope at the time was for continuity in the first year." However, after the 3-hour closed session with the full council, it was clear that it was time for a change. I voted with the majority to reject his contract and move forward. The search for a new city manager will begin in the new year. The city said in a blog post Wednesday, Chan will serve through the end of his contract, December 31st. Chan saying it has been an honor and a privilege to serve as city manager. In public comment ahead of the vote, some spoke in support of Chan.
Last year, under the city manager's leadership, we were able to navigate the deficit, delivering a balanced budget without cuts to critical city services, and more importantly, no layoffs to city staff.
His efforts have fostered partnerships, supported economic growth, and strengthened the very fabric of our community.
Former Sacramento mayoral candidate Flo Kofer, who narrowly lost the seat McCarty won by 1% of the vote, shared this news with the public.
In late September, I was told that I would be given a campaign contribution in exchange for agreeing to extend the city manager's contract by 1 year. And I was told that this had to happen because the city required stability. I want to make it very clear that, to my knowledge, Howard Chan was not aware of and did not condone what was offered to me on his behalf. But that it happened at all gives me serious concerns about who is pulling the strings and what they're willing to do or have already done.
She rejected the offer and says she agrees with council's decision not to extend Chan's contract.
All right, and Becca is joining us now. Becca, we know that Chan makes more than $400,000. That's actually his base salary. Can you give us some more insight?
Yeah, you know, Alex, the council gave him 6 additional weeks of paid leave in November of 2022 after granting him 58 weeks of leave earlier that year. Now, I asked the city spokesperson how much of that leave he has remaining and how much the city will have to pay him for any unused leave after his contract expires. Now, the person I spoke to did not immediately have that information available. So, Alex, of course, we are working to find out how much the city will pay Chan at the end of his contract.
And, of course, we will keep you updated on this. Becca's going to continue following it. Becca, thank you for the updates. We appreciate it. All right, to our next story. Today, Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency due to the spread of bird flu in the state. California is one of 16 states dealing with the outbreak, which started in Texas back in March. At the end of August, the virus was found in a dairy cow in the Central Valley. There's been at least 34 reported human cases of bird flu in California. Health officials say there is no evidence the virus is being spread between humans. Today's declaration allows the state to streamline its response. New tonight, sources tell ABC News the House Ethics Committee will release its report on former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. The Ethics Committee was in the final stages of its investigation into Gaetz when he resigned from office, setting off a debate on whether or not the report should be released. But sources now say the committee quietly voted to release the report earlier this month.
Bound by an oath of confidentiality, and so I can neither confirm nor deny anything.
The report looked into accusations of illicit drug use and sexual misconduct against Gaetz, including allegedly having sex with a 17-year-old girl, allegations he has long denied. A DOJ investigation closed with no charges being brought. But in a post on X today, Gaetz maintaining his innocence, saying it's embarrassing but not criminal. I probably partied, womanized, drank, and smoked more than I should have earlier in life. I live a different life now. Sources say the report is expected to be released after the House casts its final votes for the year and lawmakers are home for the holidays. And turning now to the Trump transition, several of Trump's cabinet picks are on Capitol Hill this week, meeting with lawmakers ahead of their confirmations. Today, former Representative Tulsi Gabbard, who Trump picked for Director of National Intelligence, is pushing back on reports that Senate support for her position is lackluster. And then we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Trump's pick for Health and Human Services Secretary, also on Capitol Hill this week, yielding questions from senators about his stance on health policies. And it comes as concerns are growing about possible mass deportations and other impacts on immigrant communities under a second Trump term. Today, hundreds of people rallied in downtown Los Angeles in an act of solidarity with immigrants. Attendees went on a 1.5-mile march toward the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Center out in downtown LA. Now, to help us answer some of these questions about the Trump transition and the possible impacts here in our state of California, I want to go ahead and bring in former UC Davis School of Law Dean Kevin Johnson. Kevin, thank you so much for being here with us. I also want to bring in Magda Perez. She is a lecturer at UC Davis, and you are also the co-director of the UC Davis School of Law Immigration Law Clinic. Thank you again both so much for being here. We know that the president-elect has come out publicly and said that he plans to carry out mass deportations as soon as he takes office. Magda, I want to start with you because you have extensive experience working with the immigrant community. What are people really talking about and saying right now with these threats of deportation?
Right. So the community is definitely taking these threats seriously, right? So there is concern about family separation, whether or not, they will be taken away, their children will be taken away from them. So that concern, I think, having gone through this, once before, they are very afraid and at the same time trying to be prepared. So they're asking about what their options are and trying to already put in place family preparedness agreements, right, to make sure that their children are being taken care of in the event that they get separated.
Right. And, Kevin, I want to ask you, based on what Trump has said so far, give us some insight on who may be impacted first if these deportations do come down.
I think the first target for removals will be non-citizens who have some kind of run-in with the criminal justice system. I think President-elect Trump has said that those were going to be the first people that he targeted for enforcement operations. And then I think after that, we'll see an expansion to other groups and other enforcement methods. But I think first we'll focus on any non-citizen who has any connection with the criminal justice system.
And I do want to talk about individuals who fall under DACA status. And if you're not familiar with DACA, it is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DREAMers. And this program really was put in place to protect people who arrived in the United States at a young age. So I want to ask both of you, do these deportations, the deportation threats, pose a concern for people who do fall under that DACA status? Magda?
Right. So one of the benefits of having DACA is to protect against deportation. So long as DACA continues, there is this protection for them, right? So the concern is if DACA ends, what will happen? And the fact that their information is in the database for the Department of Homeland Security, whether or not they are at the greatest risk. But currently, so long as they have that status, then we would imagine that they would not be the priority. But again, the loss of that status is of major concern for the community.
And I have about 30 seconds here. Kevin, I want to ask you, for people who are looking for resources and information, what is here in our local community so people can get that information if they would like to seek it?
I think there are many resources in the local community, including California Rural Legal Assistance Foundation, but there are many pro bono attorneys. There's the American Civil Liberties Union that is thinking about a litigation strategy throughout. I do think that all these organizations will be looking for help and assistance in how to respond to these various policies.
Thank you both so much. And I want to mention our conversation surrounding the Trump transition. It does not end here. We'll be speaking with these guests tonight on our ABC 10 Plus streaming app. We'll discuss the latest in the upcoming administration and how proposed immigration policies could impact California. All you have to do is just look for Trump transition on the home screen of the ABC 10 Plus app. All right, still head on to the point. New requirements for motorhomes creating concerns. Why one couple says they're not sustainable.
And we're tracking the region with fog formation across the valley and even looking at some conditions up in the Sierra. How much longer we can expect this fog to continue.
All right, let's bring in meteorologist Carly Gomez to get a look at our weather headlines. Some things are changing, but the fog is not. That's staying.
That's right. We're going to keep the fog for a couple more days as we're seeing some colder air coming in just as the clouds pass in the day. So we have at least tomorrow as well as Friday morning to see some more widespread morning fog, and that fog's already beginning tonight. Now, the first of many storms are set to arrive on Saturday, and we do have some atmospheric rivers impacting our holidays. That's going to begin first on our Saturday, the lead up to the holiday week, and then Monday, Tuesday, yes, Christmas Eve. We are looking at a bigger storm system set to arrive. Foothill spots as we get to about 10 p.m. We are looking at anywhere from about 1 mile in visibility up to about 5 for the valley spots. And then as we get to about 9:30, 10 a.m., we're still seeing some widespread dense fog down to even less than 1/3 of a mile across our region. Very similar to what we've been dealing with the last few days, and we didn't see the fog lifting until closer to lunchtime. If not, you may not even see some sunshine at all, but we did get a peek of it by this afternoon. Now take a look. We have a low headed toward the northeast and some space between us and the next storm system. That's what's bringing some colder air over that still pretty wet land, and that's helping to create some of that fog formation. Several storms lined up here are expected to arrive for us and bring us some wet weather starting on Saturday. Saturday's storm is going to be a little bit lighter. Most of the heavy stuff from I-80 north into the foothills and the high Sierra, very light, if any, kind of snowfall or flurries up there. We're not expecting this to be very impactful, but still some rain to at least catch you off guard if you weren't ready for it. By Monday night into Tuesday, this is where we see a lot more heavy rain for the valley spots, and then into the Sierra, some snowfall. Could even be at some lower elevations, so we'll keep you really updated to what to expect as we get closer to that holiday week. Upper 50s expected by Friday and Saturday, the first day of winter, and next week we are looking at temperatures continuing in those upper 50s.
All right, Carly, thank you so much. Coming up onto the point, why you could see more money come out of your paycheck next year. Plus, one couple shares their concerns about the state's motorhome requirements, how the agency in charge is responding. Welcome back. For many California residents, paying for car registration and smog checks are pretty normal. But for one Orangevale couple, they say it's becoming way too difficult to catch up to the state's requirements to make sure their motorhome is legal. Now they're blaming the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, claiming it's not sustainable to keep up with all of the requirements. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen shares with us their story and how CARB is responding.
Carol and Alan Scott
We've traveled all of the western states.
Have made a life for themselves in their motorhome, and when they're not in Orangevale.
California, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Arizona, New Mexico, Louisiana.
I mean,
we've been a lot of places.
The couple lives part-time in Arizona, but their home base is in California. Their motorhome is registered in California and is subject to all the regulations the state has required of them to own a motorhome.
This will be the first year that we've had to comply with the clean truck.
The Clean Truck Check program is an initiative through the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, with the goal of keeping the state's air clean while ensuring heavy motor vehicles are regulated. The program applies to nearly all diesel and alternative fuel heavy-duty vehicles weighing more than 14,000 pounds.
I understand their reasoning for making the air better for everybody.
Back in April, the couple paid nearly $700 to register their motorhome. Then in June, the Scotts got this letter from CARB saying their motorhome is required to comply with the Clean Truck Check program.
I struggle trying to find information on it to at least tell me what my obligations are.
On CARB's website, it says the Clean Truck Check applies to vehicles even if they are not registered in California. But under the section that defines what is not subject to the program, it lists motorhomes registered outside of California. A spokesperson with CARB says because of concerns of impacting the state's tourism, CARB decided to exempt motorhomes that are not registered in California and used for recreational purposes, citing they are generally low mileage.
We're in essence being penalized because we choose to register a vehicle in California.
The Scotts say they will eventually give up their motorhome because of age. But in the meantime, they're asking CARB to just treat them fairly.
If you're exempting all the other motorhomes that might travel in California, it seems to me that it's unfair to treat us differently.
In Sacramento, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
The Scotts say they are considering registering their motorhome in Arizona to avoid all of the requirements. We asked CARB how they plan to address this. The spokesperson would not answer that directly, but said penalties for non-compliance to the program vary on a case-by-case basis and depend on the nature of the violation. And new tonight, CARB has been slapped with a lawsuit regarding its recent amendments to the Low Carbon Fuel Standard, or the LCFS. A group of environmental justice organizations have filed this lawsuit against CARB, citing the LCFS fails to address the health and environmental impacts on climate. ABC 10 reached out to CARB. They told us they have no comment on pending litigation. All right, let's get into your price points tonight. A major announcement from the Federal Reserve today, slashing interest rates for the third time this year, something most economists have been predicting. The Fed slashed its benchmark interest rate by 1/4 percentage point. This follows a cut of 1/4 percentage point last month and a larger than usual 1/2 point cut back in September.
With today's action, we have lowered our policy rate by a full percentage point from its peak, and our policy stance is now significantly less restrictive.
This was the final interest rate decision before the inauguration of President-elect Donald Trump, who has been at odds with Fed Chair Jerome Powell since his first term in office. Trump has said the president should have a role in setting interest rates, which would be a major shift from the norm of the Federal Reserve being politically independent. Starting in January, expect to see more money taken out of your paycheck. The state disability insurance contribution rate will increase to 1.2% from its current rate right now, which is 1.1. Most workers in California contribute to this program. These contributions help maintain funds that support disability insurance and paid family leave benefits. Next, on to the point, Senior Spirit. You're going to meet the group of women proving that you are never too old to cheer. That's after the break. Cheerleading isn't just for teenagers. The Sacramento Senior Spirit Squad, made up of women 55 and older, they're proving that team spirit has no age limit.
Hit it! I shine for you, you shine for me. Come on! We're going to have a quick review.
My name is Patricia Cobbs, and I am the founder of Sacramento Senior Spirit. There's about 15 of us all together. We have women that lost their husbands. We have women that are empty nesters like me. And we had women that were just really bored and were looking for a fun way to exercise.
Senior Spirit Cheerleading Squad is a group of ladies aged 55 and over who have come together for camaraderie, exercise, spirit. I heard about the Sacramento Senior Spirit Squad on Facebook. And in high school, when I never made the cheerleading squad. 45 years later, I'm actually a cheerleader.
You got it.
We practice every Saturday at 10 o'clock. If you cheer someone on, you're a cheerleader. You don't have to be perfect. We have parades and we have performances. It's been surprising how impressed everyone is.
Age ain't nothing but a number, and where? Number.
I choreograph and I write the cheers. I make the uniforms. They gave me a a purpose and new friends. I knew I needed to define myself outside of being a mom.
Hit it.
The biggest impact is it's getting me out of the house, especially now too since I retired, and you get to become friends with people you wouldn't ordinarily run into or associate with, and it's just a good feeling having the friends and the camaraderie with women.
The important thing for me is for no women to think they can't do it, and I feel like a little legacy is being left behind. You're only old if you let your mind think that you are, and you can do whatever you want for as long as you want, as long as your health allows.
Now, if that doesn't make you smile, I don't know what will. As always, thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. To the Point does not end here. If you want to watch stories featured on our show, download our free ABC 10 Plus app. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To The Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To The Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. We can't mention base sports without talking about the Oakland A's. We have that too. What's super exciting, I know you care about high school sports. You'll never find a more comprehensive guide and team dedicated to high school sports. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look, it's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To The Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.